welcome to Building with BuildHer. I'm Rebeka.
And I'm Kribashini.
We're from BuildHer Collective, get it right. And we are talking today about selling off the plan, why you would do it, what the 5 top tips are. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there's actually 6. We snuck an extra one in there. And why you would also buy off the plan.
So selling off the plan is an important consideration that you want to make from very early on in your process. In the Rathmines project, we actually didn't initially start off with the idea of selling off the plan because we were really excited to go to market. Why?
Well, we still are excited to go to the market, I guess, but there's opportunity and there's ways that you would frame it in either scenario.
So we thought it'd be really interesting to share with you a little bit around why you would sell off the plan and how you could do it. And when it does pop up as an opportunity, how you can get it over the line, because it's actually a little bit more involved than you think.
Right. And the first step is always partnering with a really good agent. Look, on our project, we're working on the inner north in Melbourne, which is Australia, and we partnered with Jealous Craig. Mm-hmm. They're probably the leading agent for this area in this high-end home. And what we're really looking at is someone who can really understand what they're looking at on plans and have a conversation with potential purchasers, because obviously they don't get to see the final product in the beginning.
We're also looking to work with an agent who's got a really great stream of contacts and leads who they've been nurtured for a long time, and they're really great contacts that they can call on when they know they have the right product in mind.
Right. And an agent may or may not be comfortable selling off the plan, so it really needs to be something you discuss with them up front, because they're going to be the key to unlocking that value for both the purchaser and for yourself.
So let's jump into our top tips. Our first tip is partner with the right agent.
Which we've just gone through. So we're going to demonstrate value is really what it's about.
So demonstrating value comes down to a few things. You're really trying to display confidence or give confidence to your buyer. And the way that they can get confidence is by being able to see the product that's going to be built, and by giving them standards and specifications that really help them identify what it is that they're looking at. Now, not everyone can read plans and they find it really, really hard. And this leads us into our next tip.
Well, you also want to be able to show through that documentation and what you're going to be building, but you want to have a history. So it really is advantageous if you have a history of projects in the area and kind of, I guess, proof of concept or proof of product that the builder is reputable, that they can touch and feel and they know that they're going to get a good quality and good product. And that's all demonstrated through documentation and the proposal that's really put forward. And I guess what you're talking about next is the renders and why you would prepare those really high spec renders.
There's a lot more involved than you would think to get someone to create renders, and there's a bit of design work that has to be done to be able to funnel back to your renderer. So 3D renders are a great way for anyone who's not familiar with reading 2D architectural plans to be able to visualize the space and imagine what each room would look like, key spaces, and how they could walk through that. So some people can do 3D flyovers. They can be really helpful. But getting the right render will really help you show the person the look, the feel, and the softness or the softness of the space.
Yeah, and actually some of the renders they do now are almost as good as photos. It's really hard to tell. And so then the key is to have the documentation like we were previously talking about that helps people understand that they're looking at a render and you're going to build in line with that render, because there's all sorts of clauses throughout those contracts which give you as built or similar contingencies to get out of products if they're out of line. So you need to be able to understand that you're getting the right thing. So next we have the materials and mood boards. So what we're doing there is we're really helping people to understand what products they can get. So that's all about the look, the feel, the touch. And we like to have a tray, a mood kind of put together a nice mood board, materials board, I should say, which you've photographed and that's really beautiful, but also have a tray of finishes that people can touch and feel, and they understand that, this is a linen curtain, that this tile comes from Signorino, that all these different things come from different places and that they're going to be great.
It's even becoming popular now to get a little sample or swatch of your tapware, your tap finish, and that's something that hasn't been around for a long time, but it also gives someone that extra feel of luxury, and that feel of really understanding the space. And it's loads of fun to pull those boards together. And I know that I've looked at ones where people have printed out photographs and it just doesn't have that right feel.
No, and I guess that's the thing, because you've been on both sides of these. You've been on the side of the client, and you've also been on the side as the vendor selling. So you understand how that can be conveyed either side, and then you've kind of had to bring other stakeholders along that party. So explaining what's going to go where and how it's going to look is quite tricky, but definitely worthwhile. I guess the communication is key here as well. Yeah, communication between all parties.
Now, communication can be with your agent, and I know you've had a lot of experience talking with and negotiating and engaging agents to sell properties. What would be some of those key things that you need to communicate with your agent on selling the plan?
Well, I guess the thing to selling on the plan is that the agent has the voice, it has the ear of your potential purchaser. So if something in there is like, we've got a 7-star energy rated home, yes, it'll be in the documentation, but you really need the agent to reinforce that. You need them to talk through, okay, well, we've got the island is going to go here. And this is a beautiful island that's clad in stone. You've got it's going to be lit from here. They've got all the joinery over here, and it's all high-end finishes, and that you haven't missed anything. Because when people are buying their forever home, this is a really serious decision, and we need to be respectful of the fact that it's hard to come at those, come to that kind of decision and move your house and move to somewhere else if you don't have certainty.
Well, it comes back to that idea of giving them confidence, and how you give them the confidence is through all these things. For our Rathmines project by the BuildHer 8, we decided to put some key talking points on the hoarding, and that's been really effective.
Yeah, you're right. So we're communicating these things in the hoarding, which is like a 7-star energy rated. We've got a great architect who's from the local area that is known for his sustainable design. We've got a great landscape architect. We've got an agent, all of these different things are being communicated through that board. I guess the other thing is, which is I'm talking about, is choosing the right team. So a team that has proven delivery skills is really important when you're selling off the plan.
Now, what does that team look like? It's actually quite a big team when we start to list it out for you. So you've got your sales agent.
You've got your architect and your landscape architect.
You've got your lawyer and your builder.
Conveyancer will go alongside your lawyer, but I guess it's more contracts as well. So it's really about getting together the plans and the inclusions and what you're allowing for and what you're not allowing for and what time frame that's going to happen. So I guess you've got more terms and conditions to consider. But with all this kind of documentation and uncertainty, why then would someone buy off the plan?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And if you're thinking about either selling off the plan or you're listening along and you're thinking about buying off the plan, there are some actually great benefits on both sides. From a buyer's point of view, you might want to lock in your price early or get in before the property is officially on the market.
Well, right. So once the property is on the market and you've got all these other, potential purchasers coming through, especially if you think or you can see how nice something's going to be, you're able to get in ahead of that trend, and you don't have to wait for that period. You don't have to wait. I guess it's a negotiated outcome, and that negotiation is really key. So that I guess would be the biggest thing, but you can also understand where your movements are going to be. So you might be able to lock in a purchase, and you know that won't be completed to 6 months. That gives you the time to sell your house and then kind of plan to move into your dream home.
Moving houses doesn't happen overnight. Or does it? Now, if you're a developer or a builder and you're listening along and you're thinking about selling off the plan, one of the opportunities that would be de-risking your project. So you might need to sell off the plan or might want to sell off the plan to help with your finance terms.
It obviously shortens the settlement as well. So instead of getting to the end of the project, then going through the marketing period, then waiting for the settlement, so 30, 60, 90 days worth of settlement, you're able to basically sell early. And as soon as you've got that certificate of occupancy, you're then able to settle that project. So there's advantages there in kind of knowing what that outcome's going to be. Then you can lock in your next projects and saving interest costs, I guess, along the way.
Well, there you have it. Those are our tips for selling off the plan. We hope you've enjoyed being in this podcast with us today.
and we will see you soon.
See ya.